Good evening. I'd like to call to order the February 11th, 2013 Valley View School Board meeting. We're all here, right? We already did the roll call. Mr. Venegas, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bull, board affirmation statement, if you would, please.
Okay, let's see if we can read this. Our mission is to ensure that all students are prepared for college and a successful life, academically, socially, and emotionally, as well as equipped with the necessary tools to have options and to make decisions about their long-term goals. This will be accomplished by believing and working towards all students learning through rigorous curricula and meaningful, effective instruction, consequently demonstrating mastery of high-quality assessments with all stakeholders being held accountable throughout the process.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchum, agenda revisions.
Mr. President, I would like to ask the board to remove agenda item 7.2, Illinois School Psychologist Practitioner of the Year, and 13.2, resolution to dismiss. And I ask that the board approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Moving down the amended agenda. Treasurer's report. Mr. Grisafi.
Treasurer's report for January 2013 includes your financial reports, your balance sheets, summary of revenue and expenditures, as well as your interim obligations, totaling $2,943,785.69 for your action this evening.
Motion to accept treasurer's report as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Schedule of bills for February 2013 for the 6 operating funds listed there, totaling $2,771,081.93 for your action this evening.
Motion.
So. Second?
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
For information only, summary of investments for January 2013, the state funding update through January 2013, as well as your trust account activities. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them at this time.
Real briefly, we were at the IMET thing, and we had a conversation. IMET is one of the investment pools that the school district uses. Are we continuing to add additional funds into IMET as whatever we can within the limits?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right now, they're offering the most favorable rate of return of the primary investment pools that we use, yes.
Okay, thank you. State funding update, Gary, if you would. I know it's $4.5 million.
Correct, $4,524,000. Right now, we're just 1 month behind, if I can say it as such. These are funds that would have been due and paid typically by December 31st. So we find ourselves 1 month behind. As the months click by, February, March, we probably won't see any of these funds until April at the earliest. So we'll be 3 months behind, and then come April, we'll only
So we're 120 days behind?
right now, we're only 30, but again, if
You
if
assume
things-
that based on past history, to
Correct.
add another 90 days to that or something in that neighborhood?
Yep.
So,
And speaking of short, the hospital and the $2 million that we're going to lose out of the
Yes.
this year's tax payment, and then they're going back for an exemption for another $3 million.
We noticed that we were short in our tax collections for the most recent tax levy. When we called the county, they indicated that the hospital had not paid its most recent tax payment and had no intention of doing so, since they were granted tax exempt status from a piece of legislation that had passed, I believe, in late May, early June. Not only to compound the matter, they were also going to be filing what's known as a certificate of error, which would allow them to go back 2 prior years and seek refunds for any property taxes that had been paid for those 2 years. which in the case of Adventist was totaling $3.5 million. We received a letter from the county mid-January, basically telling us the same information, of which we had nothing prior to us calling them, saying, would you like to cut us a check for the $3.5 million, or would you like us to withhold it from future tax distributions? And so we're not the only taxing body affected, but we're certainly the largest, as anybody who pays taxes knows. And certainly, you know, the idea of having a $5 million impact to our fund balance, so to speak, is not something that I want to take very lightly. So we do have a meeting scheduled with the CEO of the hospital, along with, I believe, legal representation, and representatives from taxing agencies to discuss what, if any, options would be available to us to mitigate, if you will, the impact of that situation.
So, if I understand this correctly, the hospital has, through their lobbyists, through their groups, had legislation passed, and that will relieve them of some of their property tax liability, which includes roughly $1 million a year to the school district, that will then fall on the rest of us taxpayers.
Correct. If this was something that was prospective going forward, any relief, if somebody's granted a tax exemption, that burden, if you will, gets passed on to all the remaining taxpayers. And so the district wouldn't be harmed, if you will, but all the taxpayers would have to pick up fill that pail, if you, so to speak. Going back 2 years, we have no ability to do anything about that refund, and so it is just truly off the bottom line. The indication is that they paid those taxes under protest for the 2 years prior to this past year. And again, this was something that was unbeknownst to us. We had no ability to segregate the money, so to speak. Not that we would have had the ability to do so, but it would have been nice to know that this was something that was looming out there. And so...
No indication at all that this was coming to us?
I certainly had no
not
understanding that
notified.
this was something that they were pursuing. I know there's a long set of criteria that hospitals must meet.
And that's the issue, is, at least on the front end of this, we don't know how much, quote, free care, not-for-profit status, that's not been determined. Yet the courts have ruled in their favor on this particular, there's about another 15 or 20 school districts around the state, whatever the number is, it's a very small percentage of districts that are in this, but the state has not made a determination of what is fair as far as a percentage of free care that the hospitals have to provide to acquire this status. However, the courts have ruled in their favor in this situation, so we're trying to figure out, I think they're kind of putting the cart before the horse, asking for their check up front.
And
I
we're
mean-
still looking at what the courts say or don't say.
Right. So.
So
It's-
feel
it's
free to
It's
voice
an
your
open issue,
displeasure
I guess, is the
to
question.
the, to the hospital that you don't want to pay their $1 million a year.
All right, any other, school trust funds accounts, information only?
Information only, yes.
Okay, any other discussions? Consent agenda items, Dr. Mitchum.
Mr. President, I would like to ask the board to approve consent agenda items 6-1 through 6-6. 6-1, board meeting minutes, January 28, 2013. 6-2, executive session meeting minutes, January 28, 2013. 6-3, gifts for Independence and Tibbet Elementary Schools. 6-4, trips for Bolingbrook High School. 6-5, student activity contracts for Jane Addams and Scholastic Books and Oakview and Interstate Studio. And 6-6, resolution number 1441, IDOT Route 53 and Material Services Drive property transfer.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Since we're spending money and transferring property, we need a roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Student and staff recognition, Pillars of Valley View. First up this evening, Mr. Valenza from Jamie McGee.
Good evening, members of the board, senior leadership, and the rest of the Valley View community. It is with great pleasure that Jamie McGee nominates literacy leader Ms. Jennifer Bukowski as a pillar of Valley View. Since last year, we have been restructuring the way we provide literacy intervention support to our students, making sure it's skill-based and matches our students' needs. Ms. Bukowski has been one of the leaders of this restructuring process. She collaborates with her teammates and building administration and regularly meets with the grade level teams to help teachers analyze data and plan literacy instruction. Excuse me. She also attends and provides valuable input at many parent meetings where student progress is discussed and instructional decisions are made. In addition to providing intervention literacy instruction to many of our students, Ms. Bukowski facilitates McGee's Student Leadership Club and after-school math and reading club. Clearly, Ms. Bukowski displays a passion and enthusiasm for our students and helping them achieve success. It is my privilege to recognize Ms. Jennifer Bukowski as our pillar of Valley View.
Next up, Phoenix, Ms. Page.
Good evening, President Quigley, Vice President Gugis, Secretary Bull, Board of Education members, senior leadership, community members, and Dr. Mitchum. I'm honored to stand before you this evening to introduce Mr. Francois O'Leary as pillar of Valley View School District. Mr. O'Leary is known at Bolingbrook High School as O'Leary. He has been employed with Valley View Public School District since November of 2008 as security at Bolingbrook High School and currently with the Phoenix Experience program. Mr. O'Leary believes in teamwork. He's organized and can be relied upon to make sure that the day-to-day operations at Phoenix is intact. On many occasions, Mr. O'Leary has worked beyond his contractual day to ensure that the students and staff are safe. He is fair, just, respectful of everyone. He maintained his composure at all times. His positive and encouraging demeanor helps create a welcoming environment for the students at Phoenix. Mr. O'Leary is also responsible for directing Bolingbrook High School traffic at dismissal. After that, he returns to Phoenix. He also volunteers his services at various events in the community. The Phoenix Experience staff is proud and honored to have Mr. O'Leary as a member of our team and the Bolingbrook High School learning community. Please give Mr. O'Leary a round of applause.
And last but not least, Humphrey, Mr. Laverty.
Good evening, School Board, Dr. Mitchum, Senior Leadership, the Valley View School Community. It is my pleasure to introduce LaDanya Watson as our pillar from Humphrey Middle School. LaDonna Watson's in her 8th year at Humphrey Middle School as a language arts teacher. She's leader of our multicultural club and has served on the district's language arts curriculum committee. Ms. Watson was chosen pillar of Valley View because of her ability to push students to always strive for improvement and to do their best. When walking into a room, you never know what you'll see or hear as you enter. She has students walking around teaching her class. She shares her responsibilities with her students, as some students will lead groups of other students. She shares her responsibilities with her students and has earned statistical results from her students. She also has reached out into the community by hosting a poetry night at the local Dunkin' Donuts where students and parents can share poetry, and by sponsoring clothing drives to support shelters and families in Will County. She truly believes in all of her students and convinces them to believe that they're capable of great things. We are lucky to have LaDonna Watson at Humphrey Middle School. It's my pleasure to announce her as our Valley View pillar. Congratulations.
So do you have to read poetry to get a donut? Moving down the agenda, we have a whole bunch of cheerleaders out in the hallway. Want to bring them in? You don't look like a cheerleader. Yeah. Come on, man.
Good evening. Jason Pascavage, proud assistant principal of Brooks Middle School. Tonight we'll introduce two of the finest teachers and coaches in our profession, and 15 student athletes that any district would be extremely proud of. Community, colleagues and friends, Board of Education, President Quigley, senior leadership, Dr. Mitchum, I present to you Nakia Smith.
Hi, my name is Nakia Smith, and I am a 8th grade varsity cheerleader at Brooks Middle School. For the past 3 years, I have had the pleasure of being on a team with unbelievably devoted coaches, Molly DeSurf and Angie McDonald. They have managed to hold together a team of all girls for the past 4 months. And every time we had an issue, they were quick to solve it. They also were very strict about academic behavior and grades. In the beginning of the season, we were given 3 strikes, and if they were contacted by a teacher about grades or behavior, 1 strike would be taken away. After the 3rd strike, we would be immediately removed from the team, and luckily, we didn't have that problem. I admire my coaches because they never give up on us, and they were always pushing us to do better. And because of that, we got 4th at a competition. This is my last year here. Even though that is it, I would gladly come back and visit them. Now I present to you Molly DeSurf.
We would just quickly like to thank you for welcoming us at the meeting in order to recognize our varsity cheerleading squad. This year, the girls placed 4th in state at the ISA competition, which is one of their best finishes that we've had as a program. I'm truly humbled by the dedication of these student athletes throughout the season. Aside from regular after-school practices, they practiced mornings before school, evenings, and came in over every break that we had. Many times, they were the only people in the whole building. We would also like to thank each of their parents for their commitment and their extra effort in order to get their daughters to practice, and for making our great GPA as a team is a 3.4. Ms. McDonald and I are proud. Ms. McDonald and I are proud to have been part of this program and honored to have the pleasure of coaching this team. At this time, I'd like to recognize each of the girls and thank them for their dedication, time, patience with us, and hard work. Nakia Smith. Alexia Anu. Kiara Martin. Tiana McLean. Jasmine Owens. Mary Payton. Emily Romero. Desma Short. And Kayla Smith. We'd also like to thank Mr. Pascavage, Ms. Sylvester, and Dr. Wood for allowing us every opportunity to work with these girls.
You do good work. Congratulations. Good work. Always good.
Next up.
Good evening. My name is Chris Schaefline. I'm the proud principal of Jane Addams Middle School, and it's my honor tonight to introduce our cheerleading coach. This is the first year our girls competed at the state level. So coach tonight is Coach Teresa Tinsley.
Again, we want to thank you for allowing us to come and for you for recognizing us. This is actually our second year competing. We did finish 10th out of 20 in our division at the IESA state competition back in January. These are our competition girls, and I'm very proud to be their coach. First, we have Brianna Bowman, Jocelyn Flores, Brittany Godfrey. Michaela Drapes. Kelly Muzio. Jade Stevenson. Emily Stockman. Alyssa Arroyo. Taylor McClinton. And Alexis Parades.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations.
While they're taking their picture, Jane Addams' basketball team is also going back down for the third place game, correct? Thursday. It's Thursday? Yes. Okay, so if they win third place in the state. Next. You know, and they are cheerleaders, so it's amazing how quiet they are. Amazing. Mr. Rose.
My name is Rob Rose. I'm the athletic director of Bolingbrook High School. Dr. Mitchum, senior leadership, members of the board, and community members. We're here tonight to recognize our JV cheerleading team for qualifying for the Illinois Cheerleading Coaches Association, or ICCA, state championships, and our varsity cheerleading team for qualifying for both the ICCA state championships, where they placed third as a team this past weekend, and the IHSA state finals just over a week ago. Congratulations to our JV cheerleading coaching staff, including Tracy Felice, Trina Nowicki Goff, as well as our varsity cheerleading coaching staff, including Tammy and Gary North and Kirsten Reposh, on a job well done this season. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tracy Felice, who will introduce her JV team.
Good evening. I'd like to take a moment to thank Principal White and thank Rob, our vice principal, and our very, very supportive athletic director. Our 2012-2013 junior varsity team has been one of my most talented teams. They came together and worked as one. The girls were very dedicated this season. They put in many long hours that were spent practicing, but rarely complained. They came to practice, and coming to practice was a lot of fun. I believe they all sacrificed personal functions, and it made them become better tumblers and stronger cheerleaders. Along the way, we watched them become nice and beautiful young ladies. So we just can't thank them enough for a wonderful season. And as Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So with that, we'd like to call the girls up. Mariah Edgepong. Tania Biggs. Adriana Bonner. Alexi Budicoli. Ashley Carter. Brianna Conley. Latea Durden. Marissa Feeney. Emily Goff. Alexis Gregel. Caitlin Kruger. Jacqueline Lynch. Lena Nasman. Jessica Oval. Jada Owens. Deasia Richardson. Lauren Schorsch. Kelly Shishulski. Aaliyah Smith. Demetria Williams. Amber Wazinski. And Jasmine Woods. And these are your 2012-2013 large junior varsity cheerleaders.
Good job. Do we get a hold your first? Good job.
like a dance line up there.
I don't want that. You said you did. I was like, are you?
At this time, I'd like to call Tammy North up to the microphone to introduce her varsity cheerleaders.
I'll keep this real short. I want to thank you, school board, for recognizing us. Thanks to the administration and Rob. He helps us out so much. We had a great season. 2 years ago, we started co-ed division, and it just keeps getting better. This year, we placed first at the Bolingbrook Invitational. We had a snafu at Buffalo Grove. We placed sixth. Lincoln Way Central, we placed first. We placed first at IHSA sectional. We placed 14th in the state for IHSA, and over this past weekend, we placed third in the state at ICCA. I want to thank two sponsors, Mayor Claire and the Locker Room. They support us quite a bit, and I am so proud to have such great athletes to work with. So I will, with no further ado, call them up. Courtney Barnes, Brandy Binkley, Jalen Burns, Christina Cabral, Caprice Chandler, Tara Lynn Freeman, Takia Jones, Molly Makowski, Courtney Merrill, Deasia Mitchell, Courtney Morrison, Aaliyah Pruitt, Corvon Riley, Myra Roman, Leah Thompson, Thomas Walker, Shreya Williams, Kirsten Winneck, Cortrez Brannigan, and Cameron Westmoreland.
Sit down. Super supportive. Just while they're doing the pictures, parents, kids got school. They don't need to sit here and watch the rest of the meeting. If you got to get out of here, we understand. Plus, it's Monday night. There's got to be reruns of something on TV since there's no more Monday Night Football.
You know what? Just go and buy the big gallon.
Citrus. Where's my citrus? You smell like that air. It stings.
That's the only one.
It hurts.
Thank you again, ladies. Like I said, I'm amazed. All those cheerleaders, and it was virtually quiet in the hallway.
Courtney, can I get that flip? Courtney,
Come on.
can I get that flip?
Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. Let's see one.
We don't want anybody to injure themselves.
We haven't.
Oh, it's amazing watching those guys do their tumbling. While they're clearing out, any liaison reports this evening?
I have one. The academic committee will meet on the 21st. We have a pretty full agenda. We're getting some feedback from some teachers on our new curriculum, both in My Math and benchmark literacy. We'll also be talking about improvements to the report cards, and technology rollouts for this upcoming year at the elementary level. So really quite a full agenda. We're looking forward to it.
Any other liaison reports? Seeing none, moving down the agenda. Audience participation. Anybody in the room who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, hearing none. Action reports. Mr. Mitchum.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd ask that the board approve student due process cases A through J as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Mr. President, I would ask that the board approve the 2013-2014 board meeting calendar as presented.
Motion?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the calendar? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion to approve would be, oh, motion's already been approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. There's no opposed. Nope. Okay, moving down the agenda. High school calendar.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Tonight I bring for your approval the calendar for the 2013-2014 school year. It's being recommended for approval and adoption. This is the draft calendar that I presented to you on January 14th. As a reminder, a calendar committee consisting of various stakeholders, including union representation and representation from all our staff groups, including parents as well and administration, drafted this calendar together, taking into account state mandates and other constraints that we are working under. We did put this calendar out for public comment. We did receive approximately 44 responses from parents, 41 from staff members, and 1 from a community member. The greatest amount of input that we received was that they liked the semester end before Christmas, and then they did not like the last day after Memorial Day. Given the fact that we have the holidays planned into our calendar, which was the input we had received previously from the committee, we did not choose to waive one of the holidays this school year. However, we are taking this into account for planning the upcoming school year's drafts. So we have noted all of the feedback that we received from parents and from staff members. We will bring this input into our new committee that will be formed to form the upcoming year's calendars. I also would like to mention that this calendar is subject to change pending ongoing union negotiations and/or any changing state mandates. So tonight I present for your approval the 2013-2014 calendar.
Motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
President Quigley, when you said that the calendar, you said the high school calendar. And I'm glad you segued me into that, because the comments that I heard was that just what they feel like is, it's a high school calendar, and that the elementary schools was not taken into consideration, considering that they felt that this was all done to support the high schools. So those are the comments that I heard.
You know, I guess my thoughts on that as a general thing is that we're a unit district, and there are times when the high school is reaping advantage, and there's times where the perceived advantage is at the elementary. I'll give you a good example where elementary reaps an example, a benefit. What time does high school starts at 7:30?
The students start at 7:30.
Start at 7:30. So I see the high school kids outside at 6:45 to get the bus. And the reason they start that earlier is we have to do staggered busing. So we don't want the elementary kids out at 6:45 in the morning. So in that case, the high school students have to get up far earlier than even the best research practices say should happen. We're a unit district. With that comes some things that happen that, like, high school students have to get up early. This calendar may favor more high school students. But also, with being a unit district, it's easier for us to articulate our curriculum. It saves the taxpayers tons of money instead of having, a superintendent for the elementary district and one for the middle school and one for the high school. So I think from time to time, there's going to be areas that something that happens in a unit district favors one side or the other. But I think that overall, we try to make sure that balances and it's in the best interest of all the kids in the district.
And I do want to reiterate that elementary teachers were part of the committee that formed the calendar. Elementary teachers have given input into this creation, and we will most certainly continue to listen to their input. There's even union representation that have the elementary background, and they've brought concerns and input to our attention that we've taken into consideration in planning this. And so for elementary staff, I would encourage you to let your input be heard, and we will most definitely receive that.
So to clarify, they start the school year on a Friday, come in for one day that week, and that's it. And then they have to, and we end the school year on the Tuesday after Memorial Day.
First of all, I'd like to
logistics
clarify
of
something
that
here.
is-
I'm here year-round anyway, so I don't really, it doesn't matter if we start, this isn't my personal preference.
Right.
Okay, the calendar committee, the teachers that represented all the levels before felt that that was a nice transition because they could ease the students back into having one day and then have the break and then have the year start. So that explained the beginning, that was the rationale of the teachers that represented their colleagues in the field. In terms of the last day ending after Memorial Day, we had considered removing a holiday so that that would not occur. But the rationale was we won't always have years where there's no snow days, which would then cause us to go after anyway. And then the additional rationale was that the teachers favored having the breaks scattered throughout the year with Casimir Pulaski Day and President's Day and so on and so forth. So when I brought up that suggestion to have it end prior to Memorial Day and make it a clean break, they said, well, it's likely we'll have snow days, and we don't want to give up one of our holidays. Furthermore, we have classified contract language that would require us to pay overtime. It would be holiday pay for our staff members if we did not hold school on one of those days. And so there was other restraints that we were working with in having to come back after that Memorial Day weekend.
Because it just strikes me as we have 2 first days of school. That Friday, and then Monday, they're going to come back, and the little kids are going to be just like they were if they hadn't been there at all. So I think Friday's kind of wasted, but...
You're welcome to serve on the calendar committee.
I was going to say that same
Yes.
thing. I didn't serve on this year's, but you were welcome to it as a
You are welcome to it, and you're also welcome to
process.
let your voice be known to those who do serve on the calendar committee. I'm certain they would love to hear from you and bring your input forward.
A little common sense.
That's
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
No.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Ms. Kinder.
Okay, good evening again. Action Report 11.2 is a new high school course, zoology. I'd first just like to share that we see a lot of the work that the teachers are doing on a daily basis. That's very apparent in the community. It's very visual. They work with our students on a daily basis, day in, day out. There is a ton of work going on behind the scenes that you all do not see by our teacher committees and by our directors here at the district level. And that is at all grade levels and all subject areas. They are doing an incredible amount of work with curriculum alignment to the Common Core, with assessment creation, with working on enhancing instructional practices. So we're very proud of all this work that is occurring. This action report that I bring to you this evening is one example of this hard work that our teachers and teacher teams are doing. This is a recommendation for the approval of an upper-level high school science course, zoology. This is a new course to Valley View. If approved, it would be effective this upcoming school year, 2013-2014. Currently, all of our freshmen now take freshmen and sophomore students take biology, and then they take chemistry. Beyond that, we felt that we really needed to expand the offerings that are available to them to provide them more hands-on, more inquiry-based ways that they could apply their scientific knowledge, including participation in environmental stewardship in the community. The teacher and teacher teams that created this course have a background in zoology, and this course, as you read through the proposed objectives, is definitely very rigorous, and this would align very nicely with our district vision to expand our offerings for our students. There is interest from both teachers and students in taking this course. Key highlights are the inquiry-based, local and regional understanding, exposing our students to their local environments and ecosystems that they live in, environmental stewardship, and community participation and voice. There are a shifting of costs in terms of science supplies that would be used. This comes from local funds and supported by grant funds where possible. I ask for your approval of the zoology course this evening.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
I forgot to mention earlier, the academic committee was given this material and is fully behind and recommends it to the board. And furthermore, Assistant Superintendent Kinder, I actually took these courses and the information that you gave to the committee, and I sent it to a biology professor at ISU University, and their response back was, wow. Their response back was that you're going to do inquiry-based and dissection, and given that process, they were impressed and said many of the courses at the collegiate level lack both of those in the same course. And
Yeah,
also said
there's a definite passion here.
they would be really excited to see their students come into ISU with this background, because it's typically not seen.
The teacher who created this course, Stacey O'Connell, at Bolingbrook High School, with assistance from her colleagues, she's working on her master's degree in zoology, and so this is not only something that she's extremely knowledgeable in, it's a passion for her, so that it shows in the development of this course.
How many
Can I
students
ask-
do you
can I
think
ask-
might?
Can I ask Stacy to stand up?
I
Back there,
didn't see her. I
Stacy
was
O'Connell.
looking for her. There she is. Mhm.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy. Mhm.
How many students do you anticipate will take this? I mean, just out of curiosity, or the first year or subsequent
Ms.
years?
Bay or Ms. O'Connell, do you have an estimate of
I'm
how
just
many
kind of curious. I
students
mean, are we talking about 20, 30?
Approximately 160 students across the district would
Okay.
take this course, and this is an elective course.
Right.
But it's a very challenging elective course with high expectations.
it.
So our students are interested, and we just need to provide them with the opportunity, and they are there for us. So
Great.
we are excited for them.
Stacey, thank you very much. They were really impressed with what you were doing and what you've done for our students.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Next, Ms. Kinder. Now
Okay.
you have physics.
Yes, this is a requesting approval of a high school course, physics. This is an upper level course, again, that students would take as an elective after having taken biology and chemistry. We currently do offer conceptual physics, honors physics, and AP physics. But as I learned in great depth, there is a difference between the way that you learn physics in terms of it being conceptually based or integrating algebraic math at a greater level. There are different needs for students in taking science, and there are pathways that our students are going to embark on. Some of our students are going to go along a scientific or mathematical pathway in which they will go into medicine or science. Other students are going to be involved in science, but they're going to go about that in a way which doesn't require them to use as in-depth of mathematical skill and science skill, but we still want to provide opportunities for them. This physics course would broaden our opportunities for our students in studying science, and then it would allow students with varying background in mathematics to pursue that pathway that's going to best prepare them for their pathway when they leave us and go on to post-secondary. Many high schools in Illinois do have physics offerings that mirror this. Many universities, as you may be aware, also have offerings where they do offer conceptual physics and physics that we are proposing this evening. This is an investigative study course that has a synthesis and concepts of mechanics, light, sound, and electricity. Laboratory experiments and mathematical models will be used to explain naturally occurring problems, and problem solving using algebra will be used extensively in this course. As you can see, there's no less passion in creating this course proposal this evening, and I have a great deal of supporting material with it as well that I would be happy to share with you. So I'm asking, there's no additional costs incurred with the approval of the course this evening, so I'm asking for your approval of high school course physics.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
I think that equally, with some of the university level folks I talked about, they were equally impressed with the idea of having physics for non-science or mathematics students. So, again, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more, especially since I didn't have physics after high school. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. We have 2 new courses. Moving down the agenda, Mr. Grisafi.
No action report this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Hawks, we've eliminated that from the agenda, correct?
No, we still have the consolidated.
Oh, I'm sorry, 13.1.
That's okay. Action Report 13.1, Consolidated Action Report for Certified and Classified Personnel. We're seeking your approval this evening for 11 items under Certified Personnel, 27 under Classified, 1 under Administrative Classified, and 1 under Administrative Certified Personnel.
So move.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Ms. Hawks snuck in on us. She was in a meeting in Chicago. Superintendent's information reports. Mr. Superintendent.
I think that's me, actually.
Oh, the print shop, yeah.
Information report 14.1 is a information report outlining the print shop equipment replacement information. In the report, there's background information outlining our outdated equipment, information regarding the request for proposal, cost comparisons of the 3 respondents, as well as a recommendation to be forthcoming at our next board meeting. There's rationale that's included in there as to why this request is being made, along with some current costs as well as savings estimates and references of the company that we are proposing. Our Director of Print Services, Dan Strodman, is with us this evening. If there's any questions you have, I'd like him to take the podium and answer them. I think it's in a nutshell, we are looking to replace all of the equipment at the print shop with brand new equipment. That's 5 high-speed copiers, as well as replacing all of our very antiquated offset prints with digital print equipment. Within this proposal is the maintenance costs for 5 years, and we're happy to report that we can do all of that with a $50,000 annual savings to our current budget. So if you've got any specific questions, again, Dan is here to answer those if you have any.
I would just encourage all the board members to take a visit to the print shop. I got to go this year. Really well-run operation over there. Thank you, sir.
Next.
Okay, good evening. I am presenting the information report 14.2 regarding Summer Learning Experience 2013 proposed changes. In an effort to conserve funds given the state of our budget, as Assistant Superintendent Grisafi spoke on this evening, and not to sacrifice the quality of the Summer Learning Experience program, we are bringing forward the Summer Learning Whole Committee, consisting of Building and District Administration and myself, bring up to the board tonight for an information report proposed changes in transportation. Transportation for last year's SLE program experienced a net loss of $30,000 plus. That's an approximate estimate, as you can see on your information report. We had a student bus ratio of about 5 students per route for the first 4-week session, and about 4 students per route for the second 4-week session. So due to the financial losses noted above on your report and the ratio of students per route, we are recommending foregoing, and this was also vetted through senior administration, providing transportation as an option for the 2013 SLE program. The net loss overall for last year's program was $147,887.88. Given that net loss, a proposed fee change is also recommended for the board to consider. As opposed to a fee of $100 per week for each student in district, we are proposing a fee change of $110 per week per student, and out of district will be $125 per week for out of district students. That total charge would equate to $440 a month. Funds of $52,320 would be recouped with this additional fee charge. We're estimating this based on 654 students who participated in the program last year. With the savings that we would have with transportation and with that proposed fee change, we would be recouping an estimate of $82,549.68. Another proposed change would be moving the SLE site from SCOFF last year to RC Hill this year. As you remember, with the information report I presented to you in December, one of the SLE goals is to be a least restrictive program for all students. And we want to ensure that that occurs. RC Hill houses the autism, CrossCat, and low incidence programs throughout the regular instructional year, so they have critical resources such as furniture and materials that would be readily accessible to students to better serve the needs of students with disabilities. So we are recommending that change, and we are partnering with ESY this year, and they are currently looking at RC Hill as their site. An additional site change would also be Ward. So instead of having 4 sites as last year, we would have an additional 5th site, but this would be contingent upon enrollment, given the nature of just making sure that we are remaining fiscally responsible with the use of our program and materials. So that is being brought to the board as an information report tonight with an action report on February 25th.
You know, I think my initial statement on this is I would really like if we revised this report and took out the word loss. If you want to say cost, if you want to say investment. I have a really hard time thinking about this in like a profit and loss kind of standpoint. I think we made an investment. I did the quick math of $226 per child in summer learning. So a loss seems a little difficult for me to grab as a concept. For parents out there, if you want SLE at your school, and the administration and other folks, the committee will probably be mad at me for saying this, you need about 156 kids. So if it's not at your school, round up about 156 kids to do it at your school. We'll figure it out. We'll find the books. We'll figure it out. But if you want this at your school, that's what you need to do. It's about 156 kids to run the program, break even, and then you could have it at your local school if they're not on this list currently. We'll figure out the logistics.
Does the reduction in transportation from the state have any effect on transportation costs, Gary, or anyone? We lost, what, 40% of our transportation dollars?
That's summer.
This is just a raw cost? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
It's non-reimbursable, the SLE.
Right, yeah, that's what that, thank you.
So how many sites is it going to be offered at this year?
5 sites. That would be RC Hill, Hermanson, Pioneer, McGee, and Ward.
Any further discussion? We have what do we have? We have a motion? This is just an
No, this is just an information report. And Vice President Gugis, I will duly note the change from loss to investment, because you are right. We did make an investment. It was a quality program, and 654 students benefited from this program last year, so we are hoping for an increase in our enrollment this year to service more students.
Thank you.
So your loss is not a loss, but your
An
shortfall
investment.
was
An investment.
$65,000. How are you going to make up that?
That's why we're looking at proposing the changes with transportation. Since we only had a 5 students on a bus, a lot of parents did not elect to use transportation, so we don't believe that that would be a community concern. And then also looking at that minimal fee change, which is still comparable to summer programs. Usually summer programs run $650 to $800 a month, so we're still saving a parent a considerable amount of money, given that it will just be $440 a month.
I think the other piece, Member Curran, in doing the math, because I did the math a little bit and I found some slight discrepancy, is the increase in the fees for non-residents, and also there's some one-time startup costs from the initial program that will not be continued over
Correct.
Into the second year. I don't know what that exact number is right now, but having attended some of these meetings, I initially was thinking with the change in increase in costs that wouldn't cover that gap, but with some of the also initial startup costs that were incurred in the first year that we should not incur in the second year.
That number is close to $50,000.
All right, thank you.
There you go. Okay, next, ISAT expectations.
Hey, good evening. Tonight I bring to you information report 14.3, changes in ISAT expectations. The ISAT stands for Illinois Standards Achievement Test, as many of you are familiar, that our students in grades 3 through 8 take. It is the state assessment that our students take on a yearly basis that the state uses to measure student performance and in turn measure school performance. Beginning in March, the state is adjusting the scores that are necessary. They've raised the bar, so to speak. They've adjusted the expectations that students need to score in order to meet or exceed standards in the areas of reading, language arts, and math. This change was done to reflect more rigorous standards with the adoption of the Common Core state standards and the college and career readiness standards that we're all working for. Before I explain any further, I do want to point out on our homepage at www.vvsd.org, you will see a button on the left-hand side that says Significant Changes in ISAT Expectations. With this link, you will see a parent letter that Dr. Mitchum has put together to post for our community. This letter will be sent home with our elementary students, and it will be included with the progress report mailing for our middle school students. We also informed the entire district staff of this change by sending them an email and linking them and the parents to a frequently asked question document that the state has put together, and there's additional information out there as well. So tonight I just want to give you a brief of what this letter says, what the frequently asked questions most likely will be, and why this change is important. So with this change in expectation, it's a very necessary change. We anticipated this change, and we, very honestly, due to the vision and leadership of Dr. Mitchum, would be holding ourselves to this higher expectation even if the state didn't require us to do so. When we incorporated MAP testing, measures of academic progress, this past year, we saw where our students truly stood in terms of meeting college and career readiness benchmarks. So that data gave us a first true look of how our students, how well prepared our students were in meeting the demands for post-secondary. So MAP, as I referenced, measures of academic progress, has prepared us for this transition over to the higher expectations. There's also been a discrepancy between the assessment standard at elementary and middle school and that of high school. You may be familiar that the Prairie State Achievement Exam that our juniors take in high school, which includes the ACT, has a much more rigorous benchmark. That explains why you will see a much lower percentage of students meeting and exceeding the standard at high school as you do compared to middle school and elementary school. So the state has raised these performance expectations for our students in meeting and exceeding. What does this mean? This means that this year's ISAT that we take this spring, we will see a lower number of students meeting or exceeding standard because the bar has been raised. So this does not mean that our students know any less or are performing any worse. It means that there's a new expectation that's been set. This is not unique to Valley View. This is happening in every public school in the state of Illinois. So you will see a decrease in the percentage of students meeting and exceeding standard, and in essence, students, our schools making AYP. We really want to help our community understand this because our students are making progress and we are making progress as a district, but it may appear, if you just glance at the numbers at surface value, that we've in fact dropped. And this can be discouraging when you consider the amount of hard work that our staff, our students, and our families are putting in to helping our students achieve at a high level. So we wanted to do every communication effort possible to help our families understand that this change is occurring, and we want to look to our MAP data to truly be that consistent measure to see that our students are performing where they need to be, and if not, that we are addressing those areas with additional support. And our parents will undoubtedly have questions when they receive their students' ISAT report home in the spring or in the summer, and they will have questions because you may see a student who met or exceeded standard now falls into a lower rating of below standard. And so we will work together with our staff and with our parents to go through this transitional period, and we will also look to our MAP data as that consistent, constant measure. So please look for this information that is posted on our website. This isn't necessary change. As you know, we're going to be implementing a new assessment system, the PARC assessment. The entire state will be implementing this in 14-15. So this is a step in that direction of getting us ready to be measured at that higher bar and incorporating a new assessment system. I'd be happy to answer any questions tonight at this point or at any point going forward for any of the board members or any of our community members as well. And I also encourage you to reach out to your building principal or assistant principal and your teachers to help understand this change as well.
May I add that we did some preliminary research, and I won't I won't quote any numbers at this time because it is very preliminary, but our preliminary research has indicated that the difference in the scores between the high schools and elementary and middle schools is significantly different. And in fact, at many points, it's 5 points or less between what the current benchmark indicates as it applies to kids who meet or exceed on the ISET versus the percent of kids who meet or exceed on the PSAE. So it has really aligned the ISAT benchmarks with the PSAE benchmarks. And when we get the data from the state and we finalize our data, we will share that with the board and the community as well.
And we also do give the Explore assessment, which is the baby brother of ACT. We give that to our 8th graders. And so that has given us a truer picture of where our kids stand in terms of readiness. And so that's one way that we can kind of help transition over to, by having that information that gives us a true picture.
We've had numerous discussions about the ISAT and the problems with its rigor, the problems with its articulation. So it's just been I'm going to call it a bad test in the past. It's a different test. I wish they had changed the name because it's not a very light comparison from this year to last year. So it's a very different test, but finally I think that the ISAT test is now going to be aligned for our PSAE and those other things that we do that it had not been in the past. So that's the good side of this. But for comparison's sake, it would be a bad comparison to make the results from the ISAT this year to the ISAT last year because they're wholly different.
The state is looking at this current, or this past year's data in this new framework, so to speak, so that they have a comparison, so that they can compare was their growth from one year to the next, and we will do the same internally as well. And when we present the information to the board and to the community, we will share that information with you of what did it look like last year under this new framework, and where is our current standing based on what the students take this spring, this March. And we will compare that to our MAP data as well. And then once we're past this transitional year, this is our baseline, and then it's there going forward until we implement the park, which then there could be other slight adjustments.
And you had, I think, reported a little bit ago that we had done all the adjustments with the Common Core standard.
Well, we have not fully implemented Common Core standards. We are well on the way in terms of fully implementing. But it's more than just changing over curricular documents or writing assessments. It's really about a shift in instructional practices. So our teachers are very much, have their their sleeves rolled up and are working very hard on that as well. And so we're making great progress in implementing. So we will be fully implemented, quotes, so to speak, by the time the park assessment gets here. So we're at varying stages depending on the subject areas, but we've made huge strides in that implementation.
Anyone else? Thank you. Moving down the agenda, Mr. Alprin.
No report this evening.
Association Federation reports. AFT. No report apparently. Valley View Council. Okay. Valley View Office Personnel Council. No report. Thank you. Old business for the board this evening. Any new business before the board? Oh,
one item, I mean, we can't discuss it, it's not on the agenda, but I'd like to see it on new business at the next meeting, would be for the administration to make some recommendations. We've been talking for some time about some administrative cuts, really way back from when the changes we made in the busing program. So I'd really like to see the administration's recommendations on some administrative cuts, and I guess what I'm really referring to is cuts not at the building, probably more cuts in this building. And some recommendations from the administration on ways that we can reorganize and structure ourselves that we could save some money administratively. I'd love to see that. We've been talking about it for months. So I would like to add that to new business for the next meeting.
15th. Or 25th, whatever it is, 25th.
Yep,
25th.
there we go.
Any other new business? Any questions from the public on actions we've taken this evening? Hearing none, seeing none. Any announcements by the board?
I have an announcement, Mr. Randall handed me. It's the 2013 Community Resource Fair, Healing Mind and Hearts, presented by the Valley View School District 365U and Plainfield School District 202. Local resources for all. Friday, February 15, 2013, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Romeoville Recreation Center, 900 West Romeo Road in Romeoville. The event is free to and everyone is invited. Counseling services, treatment for depression, addiction, financial challenges, emergency services, recreational opportunities, elder services, and it's all in one place.
Announcement, I want to thank, there was a special resource night meeting at Lukanzik some time ago. Member Campbell was present, Dr. Mitchum was present. Really gave a chance for parents to ask questions to a panel of our special education, really experts. That was a great night. Some of those folks are here. You guys did a great job. Also, I was able to attend RC Hills Bingo Night. That was a good time. Principal, you all had a great time at RC Hills Bingo Night.
Anyone else?
I did not get bingo. My son did, though.
Just wish everybody happy Valentine's Day on Thursday, correct? Got my red tie.
Order your flowers.
Order your flowers early, gentlemen. Any announcements by the administration?
None.
Any announcements by the public? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. Have a safe evening.